Alex had always dreamed of traveling beyond Earth. But now that he was finally here in Zephora, a distant planet famous for its stunning alien wildlife and its unique cultural exchange programs, his excitement mixed with a nervous flutter in his chest. The moment he stepped into the university dorm, he knew this experience would change his life forever. The dorm was unlike anything Alex had seen before, walls shimmering softly with light that seemed alive, and corridors that echoed faint alien melodies. But what intrigued him most was his roommate, Zelo, a tall, slender Zephyrian with smooth, iridescent skin that shifted colors with his mood, and eyes that glowed faintly in the dim light. Zelo had explained some of his people's customs during their first meeting, mentioning the yearly mating season that took over Zephora like a storm. He warned Alex it wasn't just a festival. It was a powerful time that affected every Zephyrian deeply, changing their behavior, emotions, and even their biology. Alex nodded, trying to understand, though he couldn't imagine what that truly meant. Only days after moving in, just when Alex had started to feel at home, an unexpected announcement echoed through the dormitory speakers, chilling the atmosphere. The planetary safety system had been triggered. A lockdown was in effect. All exits sealed instantly with a heavy thud, leaving Alex and Zelo trapped inside their quarters. The cause? An early onset of the mating season, one so intense and unpredictable that the university had no choice but to isolate affected areas to protect everyone. Alex's heart pounded as he looked at Zelo, who was already beginning to change. His skin pulsed with deeper, vibrant colors, and his normally calm eyes flickered with something fierce, almost wild. Zelo tried to explain quickly, his voice trembling, that during this time, Zephyrians emitted powerful pheromones and experienced emotional surges that could affect humans and aliens alike. The room seemed to grow smaller with the weight of unspoken tension. Alex felt a mixture of fear, curiosity, and an odd kind of fascination. How would he survive this? How would Zelo control himself could he? As the hours passed, the dorm felt alive with strange sounds and distant calls from other Zephyrians locked away nearby, their voices carrying a strange mix of urgency and vulnerability. Alex realized that the stories Zelo told were not exaggerations. The mating season was a force of nature, unpredictable and overwhelming. Yet, somewhere beneath the panic, a spark of determination lit in Alex's mind. This was his chance. Just to survive, but to understand and maybe even help his alien roommate through the storm. The lockdown was no longer just a barrier. It was a test of trust, patience, and friendship that would change both of them forever. As the lockdown stretched into its second day, Alex found himself caught in a whirlwind of emotions he had never expected. Zelo's behavior shifted constantly, as if he was a storm contained within the small room they shared. One moment Zelo was calm and almost gentle, explaining the ancient customs of the Zephyrian mating season with a seriousness that made Alex sit up and listen closely. He learned that this season was not just about finding a partner. It was a sacred time when Zephyrians connected deeply with others of their kind, guided by instincts and complex rituals passed down through generations. Zelo told Alex about pheromones, powerful chemical signals that affected not only the Zephyrians, but could also influence other species nearby, sometimes causing confusion or discomfort. Alex struggled to understand this invisible force swirling in the air around them, feeling moments when his head spun or his heart raced for no clear reason. Zelo's eyes would flare with vibrant colors, emotions flickering across his face like lightning, and Alex often felt like a stranger in a strange land. The alien rituals Zelo performed were strange to Alex's soft humming, slow, graceful movements, and sometimes long periods of quiet concentration that left Alex wondering how to act. Maintaining personal space became a challenge. Zelo's need for closeness battled with Alex's instinct to step back, creating a tense dance that neither wanted but both had to navigate. Despite the difficulties, Alex noticed something unusual. Zelo seemed drawn to his calm. Where other Zephyrians lost control or acted wildly during mating season, Zelo found moments of peace in Alex's steady presence. It was as if Alex's human resilience was a balm to Zelo's turbulent mind. This fascinated Zelo deeply, and he began opening up in small ways, sharing stories of his past mating seasons, the joys and pains of bonding. and the heavy responsibility Zephyrians felt to choose mates wisely. After all, their choices shaped their entire community. Alex listened, fascinated by how different yet similar their worlds were. Yet, with every story Zilo told, Alex also felt a growing weight on his shoulders. How could he support Zilo without losing himself? How could two beings from vastly different worlds survive this intense, unpredictable experience together? Suspense built in the confined space as the days passed, each moment filled with new challenges. Sometimes Xilo's emotions surged so strongly that the room seemed to pulse with energy, making Alex question if the lockdown would ever end, or if they would be trapped in this alien storm forever. Still, in the quiet moments between the chaos, a fragile friendship began to grow, held together by shared struggle and the hope that understanding could overcome even the strangest of differences. The cultural clash was not just about biology or rituals, it was a test of patience, empathy, and the courage to face the unknown side by side, as the days slipped by within the locked dormitory. Something unexpected began to form between Alex and Xylo, a bond that went deeper than their obvious differences. The initial tension and awkwardness started to dissolve as they shared stories about their worlds, fears and dreams. During the quiet moments when Xilo's emotional storms calmed, Alex found himself laughing more, using his quick wit to lighten the heavy atmosphere, and those moments of humor became a lifeline for both of them. Xylo, in turn, grew more comfortable explaining the subtle signals and biological cues that governed Zephyrian mating season, things like shifts in skin color, changes in breathing, and the rhythms of their strange meditative chants that helped control their emotional surges. With Xylo's guidance, Alex learned to recognize these signs and even began practicing meditation alongside him. This shared effort created a fragile but growing safe space where they could both breathe more easily amid the chaos of the season. They experimented with blending their cultures. Xylo taught Alex to focus on slow, deep breaths and visualization techniques, while Alex introduced Xylo to human calming methods, simple things like steady music, light stretching, and even humor, as a distraction from the intense feelings. Together, they discovered that combining these practices not only eased Xylo's physical and emotional tension, but also helped Alex feel less overwhelmed by the strange pheromones that filled the air. The room that had once felt like a cage slowly transformed into a sanctuary, where two very different beings found common ground in patience, trust, and empathy. As their understanding grew, so did the suspense, because the mating season was still raging outside their door, unpredictable and powerful. Each day brought new challenges, but Alex's calm reasoning and Xylo's ancient wisdom kept them steady, pushing them toward a hope neither had dared to voice before, that this strange, forced lockdown could become more than a trial. It could be the beginning of something truly extraordinary, a friendship born not just from survival but from a deep connection beyond biology and species. Yet, in the back of their minds, both wondered how long the lockdown would last and what the outside world would think of their unusual partnership once the doors finally opened again. Just when Alex and Xylo began to feel that the worst of the lockdown was behind them, a new and unexpected danger emerged, turning their quiet sanctuary into a battleground of survival and teamwork. The dormitory's alarms blared suddenly red, lights flashing, and the planetary emergency system announcing a biocontamination alert. The source was traced to a rare native creature on Zephora, whose mating call was a beautiful. A mysterious sound had unexpectedly triggered disruptions in the planet's communication and life support systems. This creature, unknown to most off-world visitors, emitted frequencies that interfered with technology and affected the biology of those nearby, including the students and staff in the dorms. Panic rippled through the halls, but Alex and Xylo, locked in their shared room, quickly realized that their unique combination of human logic and Zephyrian biological understanding was exactly what was needed to face this crisis. Xylo's knowledge of the creature's behavior and its mating habits gave them clues about how to anticipate its movements and the timing of its calls. While Alex's calm, Quick thinking allowed him to devise practical ways to shield the dorm's critical systems from interference. Working side by side, they mapped out a plan. Xylo would use his connection to the native wildlife to send calming signals and distract the creature, while Alex coordinated with the dorm's emergency controls to isolate affected sections and reroute power to stabilize the systems. The tension in the room was thick, the stakes impossibly high, but their growing bond gave them strength. As Xylo communicated with the creature through soft calls and pheromone mimicry, Lex monitored the systems, adjusting settings with steady hands and clear commands. Slowly, their plan began to work. The creature's disruptive mating calls softened. The alarms quieted, and the dorm's systems stabilized. Their successful teamwork did not go unnoticed. The Planetary Council, overseeing the emergency remotely, praised Alex and Xylo for their quick response and for bridging the gap between species in a moment of crisis. What had started as a lockdown fueled by biological and cultural differences became a historic example of cooperation, showing how understanding and respect could unite different beings against common threats. The experience left Alex and Xylo forever changed, not only as individuals but as symbols of hope for a future, where humans and aliens could learn from each other and face challenges together. Yet, as the emergency faded and the lockdown was about to lift, both understood that their journey was far from over. They had opened a door to new possibilities and responsibilities that neither could have imagined when Alex first set foot on HFY. After days of tension, uncertainty, and unexpected challenges, the mating season finally began to wane, and with it, the planetary lockdown was lifted. Alex and Xylo stepped out of their shared dormitory room no longer, just as reluctant roommates, but as inseparable friends who had weathered an extraordinary storm together. The experience had changed them deeply, forging a connection that transcended species and culture, one based on trust, empathy, and mutual respect. News of their cooperation and bravery during the biotamination crisis spread quickly across the university and throughout Zephyra, drawing attention from both human and Zephyrian communities. Alex found himself invited to speak at forums and panels sharing insights about their journey, the cultural misunderstandings, and the surprising lessons learned about friendship and survival. He wrote an article titled "When Mating Seasons Collide," which quickly became popular not only for its vivid storytelling, but for its message of embracing diversity and working together despite differences. Xylo, too, became a symbol among his people, a reminder that Zephyrians could benefit from adopting new traditions and ideas, especially human techniques for emotional support during the intense mating season. Meditation practices combined with humor and calm human presence began to spread quietly in Zephyrian culture, easing the pressures of what was once seen as an uncontrollable and isolating time. For Xylo's people, this marked the start of a new chapter, one where ancient customs met new understanding, building bridges rather than walls. For Alex, the journey was just beginning. He felt a growing responsibility as a cultural ambassador to promote respect and cooperation between humans and aliens across the galaxy. Together, they had shown that even in the most challenging moments, trapped in a locked room, facing biological storms and planetary threats, humanity's strength was not just in technology or power, but in kindness, courage, and the ability to understand others. Their story was a beacon of hope, a living proof that the future was bright when beings chose to see each other not as threats or strangers, but as friends and allies. And though the mating season on Zephyra would return again one day, Alex and Xylo knew they had changed the world for the better, opening a door for generations to come to celebrate differences rather than fear them.